Hello basketball coaches, today I'm going to talk to you about zone defenses in basketball, how they are ran, and how each half court and full court zone defense works. So let's get down to the clipboard and let me explain to you how each of these zones work. Okay, so this first zone is a 2-3 zone. Basically, how the numbers work on a zone is however many levels or lines there are of players, that's essentially the number of zone that you are playing. So for example, this is a 2-3 zone because we have 2 players up top, and then we have 3 players on the bottom. Now, zone defenses can have 1 or 2 or 3 layers. This is a 2-layer zone defense, and those circles that I just drew are essentially the zones that those players are playing in. Now, in a 2-3 zone, any of these overlapping areas that we have up top, on the sides, anywhere like this, those are all double team locations. So the idea behind a 2-3 zone is to have nothing happening inside the key. We don't want any scores happening from inside the key. The 2-3 zone defense is also one of the most popular zone defenses that you're going to be running and playing up against. Now, with the 2-3 zone, if we have the ball up top, most coaches, they're going to be having the top 2 players trapping the ball up top and having these 3 players play a bit higher. Meanwhile, if the ball is out towards the side, you're going to be seeing most likely a trap up top. Unless there's a player down here, then you'll probably see player 3 playing in between to cut off the pass. And then what we're going to be having as well, down in the corner, player 3 is going to be sole defender down there. The defense is going to shift like this. Now, with the ball down in the low post, you're most likely going to see a double team down low between 5 and 3. Unless there's a player sitting up top, you'll probably still see player 3 looking to reach in and grab that ball, but at the same time, still having a presence out so that player, whoever, let's say for example player 3 blue is down there, he will not have an open shot if player 1 passes the ball back out. Now the 2-3 is one of the most popular zones that you're going to be playing up against. Now the second most popular zone that you're probably going to be playing against is either a 2-1-2, which is a 3-level zone defense or a 3-layer zone defense, or a 3-2. So I'm going to show you the 3-2 zone first, and then I'm going to show you the 2-1-2. So in a 3-2 zone, the idea is to shut down all of the 3-point shots that are going to be happening, while player 5 and 4 down in the post are going to be protecting the key. Now the zones here are going to look like this. We're going to have player 1 up top, player 2, some coaches go right down to the baseline, and player 3. We're going to have player 4 in the low post down here and player 5 in the low post over there. Now, some coaches do have player 2, 1, and 3 up top, player 5 guarding this area and player 4 guarding this area. I personally do not play it like that because it leaves the key too wide open for players who are cutting down the lane. So how I run it is with player 2 going right down towards the baseline. Let me show you what I mean and why this is a good idea. So if we have player 1 starting to dribble over towards this side, we can still have player 2 ready to cut off any passes, so he's going to be sitting in the passing lane. When player 1, or if player 1 passes over to player 3, player 2 is able to get to him. Meanwhile, if this was player 5 popping out, we now have this whole lane open for players to be cutting down through and getting a nice close shot. So this is why I personally run with player 5 and 4 staying in the low post in those zones right there, and player 2 stretching right down towards the baseline. That way he's able to get down there, and those are the most mobile players on the court. Now, going from there, if the ball goes into the low post, we're going to have player 2 again still protecting, double teaming if possible, if not cutting off the passing lane. Player 1 popping down, player 3 popping down, cutting off any players cutting down the middle of the key, and player 4 protecting any players cutting down any of the quarters or baselines. Again, the 3-2 zone is there to protect anything going along and shooting from the 3-point line. Now let me show you the 2-1-2 zone. So there's a few different ways of running a 2-1-2 zone. So myself, I personally like to have the center running the middle in the 2-1-2 zone. So as we can see, there's 3 levels, 2, 1, and 2. And then what we're going to have is player 5. This is the great thing about this defense is the fact that player 5, he's going to be moving up and he's going to be guarding the point guard up top. Now the idea for player 5 is to direct that point guard to go left or right into the double team, so that now we have a tall player cutting off any reverse passes, and player 2, who is an agile player, who is cutting off the driving lane, so that it's a quick, precise double team, so that we're able to get that turnover. Now, teams like South Korea, they will actually run a point guard up the middle so that he's guarding the whole middle, and he would be the one up top. Now, if you've got a very tall, agile point guard, this might be a great solution. However, the main idea behind this, I'll go back to using my center as the middle. We're basically having the zones running, player 5 guarding the whole center. Then we're going to be having player 3 guarding this area, player 1 guarding this area, 2 is guarding this area, and player 4 is guarding this area. The double team locations are going to be right here as well as right here. And we could even have player 3 and 1 double teaming and 4 and 2 double teaming in that location right there. Now, the idea behind this zone is, let's say we get the ball over towards this corner. We now have player 5 moving down to protect the post. Player 2 is popping up to protect the swinging pass. And we're going to be having player 4 cutting off any lob passes going, or players cutting from the weak side. If the ball starts getting swung back around, then that's when we start having player 5 move back up top. And we're going to be having player 5 guarding the point again. Let's say they start swinging it over to the other side. Same idea happens. Now, if, for example, we have a player in the low post, they pass the ball down to him, we're going to have player 4 popping back down, so that now this is a double team down low. Now the 2-1-2 zone defense is a little bit more of an advanced zone defense. However, it works really well and can help you get a ton of turnovers at the point. So now in this next defense, this is what we call a triangle and 2. This is more of a rare defense. You're only going to see this if you have a team that has nobody on it except for 2 really good players. So we're going to be having player 4 guarding this zone, player 5 guarding this zone, and player 1 guarding the whole top. Player 2 and 3 over here are going to be in single coverage against the other team's best 2 players. We actually seen the Raptors use this once when Klay Thompson and Curry were on the court right after Durant was injured. And this is a great zone defense to run. However, the downfalls again are the fact that you're not going to be having too many players being covered. We'll have the ball up top. We'll have player 5 in this case guarding both of those men, and player 4 doing absolutely nothing. So if the other team has multiple okay or good players, you do not want to run this defense. You want to only run this defense if they have 2 really good players and everyone else doing nothing. Now this next defense is again a fairly rare defense. It's the box and 1. We're going to have player 2, 3, 5, and 4 guarding those zones. And they're going to be staying under the 3-point line. They will not be extending more than a foot closer to the 3-point line. They want to stay at least a foot inside of it. This is when we want to bait other players into taking shots that are farther away than what they are used to or comfortable with. Meanwhile, player 1 here is guarding the other team's best player. So even if he passes the ball away and he goes and cuts to the opposite side, player 1 is going to be following him wherever he may go. So even if the ball is up top, we'll have player 2, for example, starting to guard him, but even then he's not going to be guarding him straight on. if they start doing different cuts and they pass the ball in, that's when things start getting hairy. However, again, this is a defense that is only being played against teams that have only one good player. Now, this is a defense right here, the 1-4, the unbeatable basketball zone defense. The reason why it's unbeatable, everything below the free throw line is a double team. And from there, basically, even if the ball is out here, it's going to be a double team and players are going to move over. Now, I'm not going to get too far into this zone defense because obviously this is a defense that I created myself that works extremely well. And you can go grab it in the link in the description below. Now, vice versa, we also have what's called, or what we call, the 4-1. Now, the idea behind the 4-1 is we're going to be having 4 players up top. This is what we call the perimeter basketball defense. A book is being written right now, published into an ebook that you can purchase from my website. So if you see this video in the future, definitely go check out the link in the description below. The idea behind this one, player 5 is guarding the whole key, or at least the bottom half of the key. From the first hash mark and up is going to be a double team no matter where the ball goes. So for example, if player 1 has that ball, we're going to have a double team up top. Player 4 and 3 would then move in closer, and these 2 players are trying to move player 1 to one of the 2 sides, but at the same time trapping him, so that now the only real way he can go is to reverse the ball back, and we can keep on pushing the ball back. Players 4 and 3, depending on what's happening, could close in or stay wide. If the ball goes out towards this side, again, double team again. We're going to be moving down, and basically everything is going to be double teamed. This creates a lot of turnovers, especially when they start trying to pass the ball across. Player 3 is able to cut that off, so definitely something to look into. This next zone is called the 1-3-1. So we're going to have player 1. He's going to be guarding up top. Player 2 is going to be guarding the wing. Player 3 is going to be guarding the wing as well. Player 4 is going to be guarding the high post. And player 5 is going to be guarding the low post. Now, the idea behind this is we're able to protect the high to low passes. So if we had a tandem of 2 players, we forced the ball over towards this side, and we were able to get the ball into that high post. We're able to protect that high to low pass that tends to really hurt zone defenses. That's one of the ways that you can beat a zone defense is a high to low pass. And because the reason for that is, let's say you're running a 3-2, you now have a player who's up top. He has to extend up top. He passes down low because he's wide open for that layup. Now, from there, with a 1-3-1, you're able to stop that from happening. Player 3 would then move down close to the post so that he can cut off any passes happening right there, and you're pretty well all set. Not to mention the fact that a lot of offenses run with players out on the wings. Even a 5-out offense will have issues against this zone because we're going to have player 2 being guarding player 4. Player 1 would then come over for the double team. Player 5 would move out. Player 4 would move over. Player 3 would move down. Pass over here, and player 2 can move out. Now, some teams will say, hey, player 5 can move out and player 4 can move down. I personally do not do that. Now, that is the half-court zone defenses for you. In the future videos, I am going to break down half-court trap zone defenses as well as full-court press zone defenses. So stay tuned and subscribe for future videos like those, and I will see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.